We are live. Let's start recording. You can bring that closer to your face if you want.
Live at live.
Yeah.
A little beatboxing.
You see, this is the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Let's get real. Hey, let's get real. It's about to begin right now. So, let the recording begin.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody back to Let's Get Real. We're episode 9. Seems like we're doing an episode every week. It's awesome. This is God willing, God doing what He got to do, and He's putting us out there, sharing our talents. We are here today with Shawn Robbins. Tell me about yourself, my friend.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. Thanks for being of service to our Lord and Savior. And thanks for inviting me. About myself, I'm I got a long story. Probably anyone that's going to watch this may already know most of it. Recovering addict. I have years from any, life-changing chemical decisions or self-medicating.
You shall be condemned.
Yes, for life. Well, what's happened is I used my hustle from the other life in real life, and so far so good. I've been pretty successful. I'm a small business owner, which is a lot of work, but I'm blessed to be able to do it. Blessed to be able to have awesome guys surrounding me.
The grind never stops.
It never stops, and it doesn't matter. It seems like everything I do is either geared towards my business or my family. And when I'm serving my business or my family, I really feel like I'm serving God at the same time.
Most definitely.
Because I'm only wanting to be bigger and better to be better, right? I'm not doing it I tell customers all the time, I'm not trying to retire off your job. I'm not looking to get rich quick, or I'm looking for financial security. That's the reason that I started it. I don't want my kids to have to go through what me and my siblings went through.
The struggle of a 9 to 5, and
the struggle. We single parent, and bless her heart, she did her best with everything she could, and a lot of good memories there. A lot of bad memories, but there's a lot of good ones too. And I catch myself on the regular, just being grateful that I have a wonderful spouse. The opportunity to have all this stuff, right? Every day when I wake up, the first thing I think is just thank you for one more day.
Right.
Just one more day to get up and do my best, and there's it's funny because I wake up and I say that, and then instantly I go into this almost like self-bashing mode because of yesterday's mistakes.
Yeah.
And I want to hold on to those and wrestle with them, John. And what happens is...
we all do it.
Yeah. Well, then I just got to let go and let God. And that's when things start to work out. Whenever I try to grab it and think that I'm running any kind of show, I'm humbly reminded that I'm not.
Yeah, it's very important that we listen to ourselves. I read a post the other day. It says, you don't ever see a river going backwards. A river flows in one direction.
That's right.
So let's keep moving forward.
Yeah, well, that's powerful.
Let's river goes one direction, we're going forward.
Yeah.
That's why the rear view mirror is smaller than the windshield.
That's right. That's right. Because you only need a glimpse of the past. You don't need to see it all.
And we find ourselves back in the past, thinking the past, dwelling in the past, reliving some moments, but that's not where we're going.
That's not. No, it's not.
I mean, I don't know. I think I've known you maybe since 2008.
Right about there.
Yeah, 2008, when we were both doing our dum-dums.
Yeah. You were in tans, I was in oranges. Yeah.
Shout out to the talent work really set.
Yep.
For reconstructing our lives and helping us do what we have to do.
Yeah.
It's so good, though, that it's the way that people come together in life.
Amen.
There's a lot of people out there still that are doing the same old. A lot of people, and there's a lot of people that I'm growing up with again.
Right. Getting to know all over again.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of people change their lives, getting clean and sober, and doing the next best thing. And whatever they're struggling with, and whatever they're still struggling with, it's just nice to see a lot of people still growing, becoming peer supports, becoming just a community asset.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
And I feel like most of the people that from the old life are now, you know, like you said, they're assets to the community in so many ways. You know, I'll give a shout out to some of the guys over at Pathway, Doug, Veronica, Brandon at Recovery Cafe.
Yeah.
You know, these are all guys that, man, have lived it and been through it twice and 3 times on Sunday, and now are in position to helping other families, other men, other women, other kids, and
we had to go through the mud to
you had to come out the other side. You know, going back to the work center, it was like all those times I was on the side of the road in an orange jumpsuit as an adult man picking up trash, and all I was upset about was being in jail.
Yeah.
Right? It took so long for that last time I was there that when my grandparents, my grandmother had drove by, and I made eye contact with her, and for the first time in my life I felt embarrassed.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, wow, this is not at all what I want anyone to see. And I wish I could say that started my story for change, but it was just part of the growing pains of.
Isn't it crazy how you sit there and think, I'm in jail. That's the worst part of my story right now.
Right.
Okay. You know, there's so much other things you can look at and go, well, I'm in jail for a reason. I'm doing what I got to do to get out. You know, everybody is always counting their time.
Right.
30 days in a wake up, 29 days in a wake up. You know, that they just want to get out of jail. A lot of them want to get out of jail so that they can get back to the bag.
Right. Get back to the lifestyle.
Get back to that lifestyle, and a lot of us want to get out. I mean, it took me I had 90 days clean 90 times.
Yeah, I got a wall full of, you know, white key tags. And that actually just happened to a friend of mine, Sandy. He was at the jail for, 6-7 months. I mean, a stack of charges. Somehow or another is able to plea his way into rock court, and I'm talking this whole time to him on the phone and being as supportive as I can. And I told him, okay, this is, you really got another chance here, so let's make the best of it. And unfortunately, Sandy wasn't ready. They sent him to the work center. He ran. I was able to see him in the community and talk to him and plead with him to turn himself in. But once that devil's got its hold on you, you're not making decisions anymore.
True story.
It was really, really heartbreaking because I really hoped, but on the flip side of that is putting myself in those shoes. How many times had I done that? How many times had I told all the people that I love that I was done, or that I was sorry, or, just lip serviced it to get what I wanted?
No action.
No action. Right.
Because every action has a reaction. If you reach out and you want help from somebody, or you tell them you're going to change, they're going to hold you to it. Yeah,
absolutely.
Being accountable, is one of the biggest parts of staying clean and sober, or staying out of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about staying clean and sober, honestly. It's about learning how to do life a different way, learning how to do life with a different mindset.
Which is just completely humbling. I can't speak for women, but as a man, I can remember being a young man thinking, when people were starting to tell me that I had a problem, I was like, no, I'm a man. I control me, and, after prison the first time, oh, no, I got this. I know what I'm doing. And I don't know why human beings are so resilient to just change in general, looking back on any of the stories where success is involved, if it has a measurement, success or failure, and just thinking about some of the people that we even mentioned earlier and looking at where they're at now. Even back when I first started getting clean, it wasn't really attractive. Right. The old life was still so attractive. The rush, the carefreelessness, which actually is almost like an oxymoron, because
right.
All I did was stress when I was on the streets, missing birthdays, missing my children, missing my siblings, my grandparents, and
all stuff you could have prevented.
All stuff that could have been prevented, yeah. And I'm grateful now to have a second chance at our 27th chance, or whatever chance it is.
I was going to agree with that one.
to be able to, pull up in my van at your studio and just sit out here and talk a little bit about life.
And that's what I'm trying to do with this podcast. And my wife, she pushed it for so long. I was all about the music. I want to make music. I want to put my music out and all that kind of stuff. But coming from my counseling background myself and my wife's counseling background, I want to talk to people. People need an outlet to talk to.
Yeah.
Podcasts are the new radio. Podcasts are a new way for people to get together and just talk about stuff. There's been a lot of crazy times in this world, politics and all kinds of stuff. But this podcast right here is structurally built to let people know that there's someone out there that wants to hear them and talk about them. And that's why I paid for the distribution for it to go national.
Right.
And anybody out there, please get with me, help me share this, help us grow this, because Let's Get Real is more of a movement than just some people talking back and forth. We are here to be the voice for those who don't know they have a voice.
That's right. That's right.
It's good because...
Yeah, or for those who just aren't sure or just tired of waking up in the dark and you've been doing this for a little while now, and when I came in, I was, just felt like just beaming for you. This is all part of making the choice every day to just, have a better life, want a better life. Obviously it would be nice at some point for any business to make money.
Right.
But I love that your business isn't financial driven, right? It's a message. The message is
hope.
Hey, you're not out there alone. Whatever it is that you think you've done, that you're the only person, it's just not true.
I think it was Doug Duvall said a month or so ago when I was talking to him. He said, "This is one hell of a way to give back."
Yeah, it is too.
And it kind of gave me chills because I'm thinking, yeah, that's kind of what we're doing. I'm glad that other people see that.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to be famous. I used to want to be famous. I want to be all over everything. My wife says, "You just want to be famous. You want everybody to see it." Well, I want to be the one to host it, to mediate this conversation, to get us to a point where we can all be on the same page and figure out where everybody's life is going.
Right.
Right. I'm not nowhere certified by any state or certificates for counseling or anything like that. I have a little bit of counseling background and schooling background, but certified counselor, not me.
Yeah.
I've lived it.
Life experience counselor.
I've lived it.
Yeah.
I've hated it. I wanted it all to end before. I've just, we pushed so hard for stuff like this.
Yeah. Yeah, this was definitely an awesome way to give back. Doug nailed it there, and really it's the only way for me to stay in my solution is whatever it is. And I'm not known always for my patience or having a great attitude. But I'll tell you, the older I get, the more I realize what's important, what's not important. And being honest, my biggest daily thing for me, after I wake up and I thank the Lord for another day and then I beat myself up a little for yesterday's mistakes, is then I like stand on this edge looking into darkness and thinking about all the time I've wasted.
Yeah. Right?
Because now I'll be 46 this year. I've been in business, going on almost 5 years. But where could I have been? What could I have done? Who else could I have helped? Right. And it's hard because as I'm staring into that darkness and thinking these thoughts, I'm not realizing at the moment that it's just the devil trying to get in.
He is.
That's it. That's all he's trying to do.
Out of you.
Trying to make me not love myself, not care enough about myself to make choices that will get me, back on the dark side. And so, again, man, I'm just super, super grateful for this opportunity to even, just talking to you.
I know. I'm glad to see you walking over here on the green grass with your shoes off. And grass blades between your toes. It's a great feeling. That dark side, the drug lifestyle, the crime. It was never fun.
Yeah.
We thought it was.
We thought it was, and one of the hardest parts of this thing is like, I want to talk about my daughter a little bit. My daughter Athena, she's a great kid, man. She just gave birth to her second son, Austin. She has 2 boys, Bentley and Austin. Just beautiful kids, blessed to be their grandfather. And she's in love with a man who reminds me so much of me. And I don't say it's like conceitedly, but the kid is super smart. He is just so intelligent, but he's too smart for his own good. And he's struggling right now. Well, he was really struggling, and he seems to have kind of dialed it in. And as we talk and I try to share my life experience with him, it seems like no matter what I say or do, you know, you have to touch that hot stove to realize that it's hot.
Yes.
And it's heartbreaking for me to have to watch my daughter go through that. But again, as I grow, I get to learn and look at, you know, what did I do to my spouse? Right? How did I hurt her making my choices that I made? Or how did that affect my mother or my siblings? And so even in those places where it hurts to watch, I'm still able to gain some foresight and, you know, just keep plugging away, doing what I'm doing, and hopefully one day, you know.
Yeah, it's good to be there on the sidelines, to be the coach, to show them a direction to go, but everybody is going to grow up into their own way. They're going to grow up in their own way. If I listened to people pushing me along the way, I probably would, nope. I don't want to do that. I want to do this.
Yeah. I almost went in the military when I was 17 and 9/10. I had a birthday coming up in a couple weeks, and I actually came up with the idea all on my own. I was like, you know what? Because I was basically faced with like going to prison real soon or making a life-changing decision that would be for the better. And so one night I was laying in my bed and I thought, I'm gonna join the Army. You know, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna join the Army, and then I'm gonna become an Oregon State police officer. And that was my plan. And so the next morning I was so excited. I remember vividly. I get up and I go out to the table at my grandparents, and my mom's sitting there, and I start to tell her my idea, and she says, "Yeah, that is what you're going to do." And being the ignorant, youthful dummy that I was like, "You're not going to tell me what to do."
Right.
And because of my ignorance, I doomed myself to decades of substance abuse and homelessness and you know, abandoning my children and everything that comes with that life.
Sucked it in.
Because of, you know, it just blows my mind. I knew better than to like not make my choice because of someone else's decision. And, you know, I held that against my mom for a long time.
Long time. That's so deep.
And it's only in the last year, you know, working on myself. I have a sponsor. His name's Michael M. He is like the role model for me on all things: how to be a man, how to be a husband, how to be a dad, a grandfather. And most of these revelations that I've had this last year, especially involving like my mom or relationships, has come from him. So I definitely want to give him a shout out, Michael M. and his lovely wife. You know,
it's a great accountability partner.
Yeah,
it's a good person to have.
Yeah.
Someone to do life with. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Yep.
I'm trying to get a bunch. I mean, real soon we're gonna start holding home groups here.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm going to start a men's group. We can have it here.
Yep.
We're going to start doing life with like-minded individuals and people that, you know, want to be a part of something new and refreshing.
And it doesn't have to have a label on it.
It doesn't have to have a label.
Labels tend to scare people away for some reason. I got some buddies, like one of them, who just recently experienced some, and I'm going to call it near death. Even though he barely got any scratches on him, you look at his vehicle and it's totaled. Yeah. And it looks like whoever was in it should have passed, right? And so part of it, in the process of talking with him, I was like, well, man, how did this erosion start, you know? And I think back to when he was free of the court, and the attitude started to become really quickly, you know, like, F the program. I won't throw the program out there, but he was like, F the program, you know, these guys, they say they care about you and they want you there or whatever. And he says, I went to the same meeting for a year and a half, and passed my phone number around, got to know some people, and I disappeared for a month. I didn't hear from one person.
Right.
He said, I truly didn't feel loved, I didn't feel valued, and whatever his reason for seeking that, or if he was or wasn't, could have been all court mandated.
Right.
But there's a lot of that. And so what I like about your idea, and I've also put some thought into like just a men's group, a dad's group.
Yes.
Just a dad's group where we do, our own daddy-daughter dances, or grab the kids and go hike Table Rock as a men's group with our kids. And
yeah, it's great ideas. And a lot of these ideas, my wife's, I kind of take credit for some of them, but she's the brains behind the operation of all of this.
Right.
I brought in Save to Serve, and Save to Serve can be not just me, not just my wife, it can be you.
Right. It can be all of us.
It'd be all of us. And that's good. Yeah, we don't want to have a label on anything that we're doing.
Yeah.
It's not specifically for a certain demographic. We're
Right.
just open to, to love people, to show people there's a whole new way of life to live and be a part of something and find out who your true self is, because you can be your true self. I ain't gonna judge you who you are, what you want to do, what you want to wear.
Yeah, that's just not even our place. And talking about true selves a little bit, so every day, I'll just speak for myself. Every day when I wake up and I do that reflection and about the past a little bit, and I tell myself, all right, today's the day that I'm not going to get frustrated. I'm not going to get frustrated when my 6-year-old is right up my butt as soon as I walk through the door. Daddy, take me down, take me this, whatever. And in the moment, I feel like I can righteously justify needing just a little space. But in all honesty, she deserves everything she's asking for. Right? All she's asking for is her dad. That's it. Give me some attention. And
I'm learning that too, bro.
Man, and it is so tough, because then when I go to sleep that night and I'm like, God, why did I yell at my child? Why did I yell at a 6-year-old kid who doesn't even understand all the dynamics and complexities of this world? All she's basically saying is, Dad, I want some time. And I'm still so selfish that I'm like, well, what about me? What about Dad? And I know my lovely wife-to-be feels the same way. She's a stay-at-home mom. I don't know how she does it. I don't know how she does it. Listen, once upon a time when I was more of a moron than I am now, I had the nerve to say to her, what? All you do is stay home with the kids.
Deadly.
Oh, it did not go over well. It was the catalyst for a whole bunch of life-changing conversation between her and I after the heat kind of cooled down. Because she gave me the opportunity to go through what she goes through on a regular basis. And, again, back to being selfish, I was like, all right, well, I'm running the business, I'm doing all that by myself. I take care of all the financials. I make sure if the car needs an oil change, all this stuff that I do was all I could really see. Right? I was taking for granted when I walked through the door, my house is clean.
Yeah.
My laundry's folded, my dishes are clean, there ain't, our house is clean, and that's impossible when you have a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
And instead of saying thank you to her or showing her, I thought, well, I pay all the bills. Well, I take care of everything. I'm a man. This is
selfish activities.
Right, selfish activities. And it goes back to
Sorry, baby.
We were talking before we started recording. There was once upon a time in my life where I believed that living in the same house with my children made me a good parent. And it was the same exact concept. I believed that because I was taking care of my family financially, that everything else should fall on her.
Right.
All the laundry, all the dishes, all the cleaning, all the kids to karate, gymnastics, t-ball, all the Christmas shopping, all of these things that I had put in a category as, things for the wife to do, without even saying to her, hey, would you mind taking over all the Christmas shopping? Between the two of us, we have 10 kids, man. It gets crazy at Christmas,
Oh yeah, we get that 7 between both of them, her and I.
Yeah, so
we got 2 at home. And that's enough for now. I don't want
Yeah.
any more.
Yeah, we are definitely good.
Hi, baby. I see you watching us. Hey,
Hey.
Josh. Hey, McKillop, you're watching us too.
Okay, welcome.
Welcome to the party.
Yeah, so one of the things that I feel takes the strength out of, or the hurt or the pain out of, is every time I talk about, whether it's live or not, when I talk to another human being and am able to say, the mistakes I've made, and
I still make them.
I still make them. And that's what I'm saying. So that was a year ago that I said that to her. A year ago I said, like, oh, what do you do? That's what I said. What do you do? Like, and so I put myself in her shoes. If she was to say that to me, I would be so offended.
Yeah.
I would be angry. I would probably want to leave. But instead, what happened was, in her own way, she allowed us to work it out, right? Because by all rights, she could have been at that point like, you know what, you got to go, or she wants to leave, or any of that. And so we're coming up on a decade together. Yep, we were actively using together, which was a horrible nightmare. But we have a love that lasts, and it's difficult at times. Relationships are the most work I feel like a person will ever do in their lives.
Especially being with somebody you used to use with.
Right. Who's seen every darkness.
I couldn't do it.
They
tried it twice.
Yep. And most people said in the beginning, they were like, oh, it just won't last. It wasn't work. Look in the program and show me a couple of people that use together.
Right.
Right. And so, I don't know if her and I are mindset alike, where when we both heard that, we were like, well, let's be the ones,
One person co-signs the other person.
Yeah,
And,
basically.
if you get high, then she can get high.
I'd get high and she'd kick me out. That's what would happen. Yeah. She would protect those babies at all costs.
So the moral of the story, don't get high.
That is the moral of the complete story. And it's even, not just don't get high, but if you're in a position in life where that's what is on the table for you, then that's what this message is, call John, call me, call someone, because there's someone willing and ready to help.
It is.
I mean, even if it's just answering the phone and saying, hey, I'm busy, but I want to catch up with you, that can make or break the difference.
Yeah, I've talked to people like just recently, about a month or so ago, about an hour and a half on the phone. He was drinking, but we talked forever, and that helped him, I believe.
It probably helped you a little.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't like, after I hung up the phone, I'm like, whoa, that's an hour and a half. Well, at least we got somewhere. We got to talk. He got some feelings off his chest and some things. I mean, and I answered the phone. It was like 11:30, almost midnight when we got off the phone. And times before, people have talked to me about, wanting to end their life and all kinds of stuff. And I'm here to talk to you.
Yeah.
I put my family first, but I will do my best to get to you guys. I swear.
Always family first.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't make this my mistress.
Well, circle back around to the dad's group, the men's group. I think what would be nice is, as that starts to unfold and take its form, would be cool, something I would be willing to do, and I'm sure other members would be willing, is, to have a 1-800 number, to have that on the website, to have that out there. So if a person just wanted to talk, we rotate shifts with the phone.
Oh, yeah.
You get it one week, I get it the next week, he gets it the next week, and just to be available, I feel that could help to make a difference.
Definitely something we gotta look into. Figure that out. Some kind of crisis line for people, so our own personal phones aren't blown up. But
right,
still, blow up my phone.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna ignore you. I'm not.
Yeah, and having said that, I'll kind of segue into this a little bit. As a small business owner, construction company, we do a lot of remodel stuff, a lot of painting, fences, decks, whatever. And so I would like to put it out there that there are some opportunities that I have during the year where, if you knew a little old lady that was on Social Security and her porch was dangerous, or someone was in an accident and they can't afford to have a ramp built, or something of that nature, I am open to hear that, to be available to help with that. Of course, I have to put my business first, but I can always try to make time to give back to the community that I once just completely helped destroy.
Correct. Rebuild this community.
Yeah, one stick at a time, one block at a time, and
yeah, I also thought about that too. Like with our business as we grow, adopt a block.
Right.
Where we clean up the trash on the block. We try to do something to keep one block at a time clean.
Yeah.
Or help somebody. There's so many ideas we have flowing with this. We're not sure if we want to just keep doing the LLC, the limited liability company, or move on to a nonprofit. So we're still kind of like weighing the options back and forth.
Right.
But we kind of just want to get the ball rolling where we are and just start doing everything we just want to be for the community.
Yeah.
We gotta be community, grow the community. It's crazy.
Yeah. Speaking of the community, I've lived here since '88. And I gotta say, while everything changes and evolution happens, and I believe we're all migrants from somewhere else. And part of what I'm noticing, and occasionally I will give a little beep beep if someone's on their phone or what have you. I'm noticing this traffic. The roadways don't seem, big enough. And even more so is I'm noticing, road rage or just impatience, more people on their phones, or, a 17-year-old kid with a car full of buddies flying by at 90 and a 35.
Even the ones that speed through like the Walmart parking lot.
Yeah.
Like, where are you going that fast?
And,
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
Like holding on to him, like,
yeah.
oh, wait a minute.
I mean, it only takes 1 second for a kid to step up, a door to open, or nothing. And really, this is kind of going into something else that I wanted to talk about while I was here. I noticed the traffic, and I gotta say, when I very first started driving, not when I first got licensed, because that was only 6 years ago, but when I first started driving, I remember if you were turning out, people would wave you out, they would let you in, they would, so you're on the freeway doing 75 miles an hour, and there's 2 car distances between you and the car in front, and this guy comes flying up on the right and hops in there. And
only to get stuck again.
And I'm thinking to myself, where are you going in such a hurry, first of all? And secondly, now I've got to fall back.
Right. Because
I need to maintain a safe following distance. And the guy behind me, most of the time, gets upset because now I'm slowing down. It's just traffic, man. It can drive people mad.
It does, because I was going to bring up the same exact thing you just talked about.
Yeah.
Because the other day, I was waiting to get out of like a parking lot or out into the road.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my son, watch this. I counted like 31 cars before someone says, go ahead and go.
Yeah. Yeah, so 30,
I showed him, I'm like, whoa.
Sad,
it's just like, but I'm the guy that will stop.
Right.
Don't care who's behind me.
That's right.
Come on,
and
get
let
out.
you on out, yeah. And while you're saying that, so there's an exception to this rule, right? If you are in a 2-lane headed in the same direction and you are in the left lane, you don't wave a car out into traffic, right? A guy did that last Christmas, or Christmas before last, over by South Sherwin. They waved a car out right in front of my truck. And I T-boned him. It was her fault because she couldn't observe the roadway. But honestly, I thought it was the guy's fault who waved her out.
Right.
And so my truck was damaged. So I couldn't track him down. But, if you happen to hear this, it was your fault. You shouldn't have let that lady go through all of that. You should have stepped up and said, oh, man, I shouldn't have waved you out. Or maybe it isn't his fault. It's not for me to blame, but it appered that way for sure.
No, if my wife was to tell you the story, I'm not a very good driver.
Yeah.
And I say the same thing about her, but hey, it is we all have these different driving abilities.
Well, listen, this is how my wife rides in the car. I don't know if you can see, but she's got one hand here on the handle. Her right leg is always extended to the thing, and then this hand is kind of free floating. And, we're coming back from the coast one time, and I look over, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you don't trust my driving? And she was like, well, it's not really your driving. We're doing 80, going around 55
Put
mile
some
an
brake
hour
pedals
cars.
down there for her.
That might actually be helpful. A little steering wheel and get her to move around a little bit.
Sorry, Jessica.
Yeah, I don't know if she'll be watching right now. I think she's getting her hair done.
That's good.
It's the rough life of the stay-at-home mom.
I know. I just picked my wife up yesterday from getting her mani-pedi.
Yep.
Women need it. Women need that little release of just be by themselves and just get pampered. That's good. It's good to have.
I think adults in general should, be able to recognize that, like, there's a value in being able to sit with your thoughts.
Yeah.
Technology has really robbed human beings of that.
It is.
Because, and I notice it at home. Like, I'm no saint when it comes to my phone. I do, when I come through the door, I try to put it on the charger. I try to leave it alone the best I can to give my family the attention they deserve. But the downside to that is, while my wife's been off her phone most of the day to take care of the kids, as soon as I walk in, now she can be on her phone because there's a second set of eyes to watch the children. And what happens is it ends up robbing part of the time that I feel like is for her and I.
Right.
And
my wife and I do the same thing. The phone is deadly.
Yes.
It's an evil little being.
Yep. And scrolling and just scrolling. And
about nothing.
Before you know it, you're 74 videos in, dinner's burning, the kids pooped in the tub. Like, it's all gone bad.
Yeah, like I said, I can't make this my mistress. I mean, the music in this we got this studio space to do what I love to do, what I was trained to do, and we're just gonna, it's something that I need to, like, set a healthy balance.
Right.
If I could spend all night here and make music and record podcasts and do all that, but I'm neglecting people. I'm neglecting my family.
Right.
And I don't want to do that. I mean, that's why we got to set up for, there's a TV here, there's internet, there's, all kinds of stuff. But there's also a lot of things that I can't do with my kids. Mm-hmm. I'm here because my son is in school from 1 to 4. That's why we're doing a podcast at 2 p.m.
Okay. I was curious about that.
Yes. And Thursdays he has school. So as he gets older, he'll be in school like a normal kid. But it's always, we always find a way to work around it. But phones, like, again, I'm bad with my phone. I'm on it. I tell myself, oh, it's for the business. Oh, it's for the podcast. Oh, I'm creating this visual. I'm creating this sound. I'm creating this ad.
Right.
I always give myself an excuse, but I find myself, these are my toys.
No, it's easy to do that because that's where I'm at. It's like, well, a customer just emailed. Yeah. So I got to respond. Or a vendor just said, your windows are in, so I got to respond. And I really do, and I can take and set a time. One of the joys of my relationship is when something happens, like, I think you're on your phone too much, or she thinks I'm on my phone too much, like, it comes out. It's like, okay, hey, however, sometimes it isn't always pleasurable in the beginning. Nobody likes to be told what to do, especially your significant other, right? And so it's gotten to the point now where almost a decade in, it's like, okay, let's figure out what works best for our phones, right? So when I get home, let's try to get a couple hours in there where there's no phones, no tablets, the family's just interacting, which is tough because we have a 2-year-old, 6-year-old, 18-year-old.
All in one house?
All in one house, yeah.
Been there.
But I will say our 18-year-old who it's just been such a blessing it's her oldest boy. His name's Gage, and he is a sweetheart of a kid. He moved in with us a couple years ago, and he's just grown leaps and bounds. He got a place. He's going to be moving out pretty soon. We will definitely miss him. But what's
to an extent.
To an extent, yeah. I mean, because I love him, but like, that's your sister's room now. You got a place, so he's moving on. We're gonna move the sister in there, which will help some of the just clutter at the house or whatever.
That's cool.
But for him, he works for me. He has to be able to just watch as your kids grow, and watch them. When he came, he had a little squeaky voice. He wasn't sure about anything. He has his own story to tell. But I've watched him mature into this young man that's like, man, I couldn't be more proud. You know what I mean? And I know I don't tell him that enough. And I'll remind myself now, like, when you feel it, say it. Because the world is short. You never know what's going to happen. Right. And I've been blessed to step-parent him or co-parent with him, co-parent him. And, you know, he's moving out. Amelia's moving out of our bedroom back into her room. And, you know, we're going to be...
Life just keeps moving.
You know, it doesn't stop for anyone or anything.
Go with the motions, you know?
Well, that's how long did it take you to realize that time was that's why they incarcerate you.
Right.
Because that's the one thing you will never get back is time.
Right.
Right? So all those years I thought I was putting in my, you know, earning my stripes or whatever, so to speak, it was actually just life off the back end.
I'm doing 2 years. I'm
yeah.
cool, man.
Yeah.
Let's do 10 years.
You can trust me with your $20, bro.
Let's do 10 years in prison.
No, you can't trust me with your $20.
Send your $20 right now. Send stars. Send stars.
Yeah. Is that what like gets you upgraded or something?
Oh, I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
We're just moving this by the message.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not making any money off this. We're connecting heart to heart is what we're doing.
Right.
And we're talking about all kinds of real stuff.
Yeah.
This is why I decided the name Let's Get Real. It used to be JCTV with Jonathan Christina TV, which was kind of cool. But it just didn't have like that punch that we were looking for.
Right.
But so let's get real. Let's
get real, definitely.
Let's talk about so many topics that we can just be real with and just keep God on that firm foundation. That is the most important thing that I've learned. My wife has learned. It pushes us in a direction that we want to go. With God and with Christ, all things are
possible.
Possible. We got it. Yeah, it's so great. I love the feeling of it. I love just connecting with people.
Yeah.
And our world's in dire need. COVID has messed up so many things with jobs, available workers.
Stock market.
My Dogecoin is dropping.
Yeah. Well,
someone told me I was going to get rich off a SHIB, but I got over 2 million. I'm waiting.
Yeah. I was going to say I got a couple million there too, but worst case I'm out a couple dollars at this point. But speaking of some of the let's get real, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the police, right? Okay. So I know in my life growing up, right, I was told by my parents, like, we don't ever call the cops. We don't trust the police. The police are part of the problem. And, you know, it took a long time of life before realizing there's a justifiable need for police. People, I think, sometimes think that there isn't, but realistically, we're a couple decisions away from not being the society that we are, from being a polite society. And the one thing I think that keeps the society polite is the threat of violence, the threat of death, the threat of loss. For a lot of people, there are people that are, you know, probably just good people from birth and that's what they do. But the same goes with police, right? I believe most of the time that police go through the academy, they've had an experience or something, they just want to protect and serve. And, you know, my hat's off to those ladies and gentlemen. However, there are some police that slip through there that
garbage. They're
garbage, man. They don't help anyone. They escalate, not de-escalate. There are, you know, it's like I've got some experience with running from the police, you know. So once I have given up, why do you have to tackle me and punch me and kick me?
To shock me.
Because what? You were mad that I ran? Why?
You
know, I just couldn't understand so much emotion behind it. And I understand and I can relate to, you know, every traffic stop has the threat of death. Yeah. Right? You never know what the person you're pulling over has or is coming from. You know, I'll stop this story right here and I'll tell this short story. I was living in Salt Lake City, and, you know, I used to think I was this real tough guy. And I was at a stoplight on my lunch break, and this guy driving by, and I yelled out my window like, "What are you looking at, punk?" You know, well, I didn't see that he'd stopped his car right there. He walked over, reached in, undid my belt, pulled me out in an intersection, John, in downtown Salt Lake City, Utah,
Man.
and proceeded to give me 5 good, solid punches to the face. The whole time, my brother's just sitting in the car, right?
Shocked.
I think he's shell-shocked. But I go back to work, and I realize sitting at my desk at work that who cares how tough I was? You know what the guy told me? He said, I just caught my wife cheating, and you're lucky I'm on my way to get my gun.
Oh.
And I thought, oh my God, I am a coward. I am nothing. I will never try to be tough again. And from that day forward,
You never know what people are going through.
you never know what people are. And so back to talking about the police. You know, all the same, they don't know what we're going through. But that, in my opinion, is more of a cause of like, hey, can I talk to you? You know, like how's everything? For one, the tone, precedent, and so let's talk about this. Let's talk about. We're getting pulled over, right? What does that look like? You know, because the police are trained to pull you over. Has anyone, listeners alike, has anyone ever been trained on what to do when the cops pull you over?
Never took a class.
Never. I've never even seen one
I had
offered.
to wing it every time.
Yeah, and I've never seen any police informational, educational knowledge like, hey, you know, city and state parks are all closed at sunset or any of that stuff. There's always a little sign when you get there. That way when they show up, they can arrest you for whatever the violation is. But I would like to see the police department putting out information, right? Like Medford's police livability team. Some people aren't for it. I personally think that's exactly what we need. We need the same cops.
Look into.
We need the same police patrolling the same neighborhoods week in and week out, because what happens is they get to know us as human beings and interact with us. We get to, you know, wave when they drive by instead of run, and that all goes back to the stop. You know, I wasn't known for pulling over personally. I figured I was always going to jail or prison, and so I would always try to get away. But there are a lot of people out there. I had a daughter, my daughter Athena, I was talking about earlier. She'd gotten pulled over a while back, and she was having a bad day. And, you know, she basically made it sound like that the cop was being very intimidating to her, and showed no, you know,
professionalism.
None. Was just like, oh, you know, I don't care what you're going through. You didn't have your lights on. And so she ended up getting a warning.
Not allowed to make mistakes.
Yeah, there's.
It's crazy how it works like that. That the cops, there are some cops that, you know, are definitely understandable, but it goes back to what we were saying is, you don't know what kind of day I've already had.
Right.
We have not been trained.
Right.
As you bring that up, I mean, that kind of makes me want to reach out to the police department and see if we can maybe run a couple 1-hour workshops.
Or you know, maybe they can hear this. Here's 2 people who used to be a big part of the problem here in this town.
Do they look familiar?
I'm about 120 pounds heavier than I was.
200 pounds heavier.
But here we are, you know, and that's all I'm saying this for is I don't want to see anyone get hurt.
No.
Right? Like, unfortunately, we're supposed to bow to the law, right? Which, so if they pull up for whatever reason, and you start to think that you know your rights, and they cuff you and put you on the ground, that's a failure as a citizen, right? Because again, if you're patrolling the same neighborhood and you haven't met this person, you're going to get to know them. They're in your jurisdiction. So why wouldn't you, you know, and I say this because I've seen it recently. I saw it at Walmart over here. I saw, a couple officers stuffing a guy in the back of a car with their feet, right? And and there's just stuff like that happens. And I get, there are gangs on the streets, but there are also police gangs.
Yep.
There are also police brotherhoods. And it seems like if you mess with one of those guys, then all of a sudden you're on the radar for all the wrong reasons, right? Because the shield says to protect and serve. And when I think of police, John, I don't think of that.
Right.
Right? I think of, an ever-evolving view of what that is. I definitely don't want to defund police, but I would like to refund mental health.
Mental health, awareness.
Man, there's not. Try to look up what you can happen in our county for mental health. there's a little teeny sliver of sources available. You know, it seemed like that big building the police built and the mental health building next
Right.
door, and that was all supposed to, and what did it take, like a year? And that closed down to just a few,
Right.
you know? So it was like, hey, people were going to build this and have a big mental health facility here so they could get the vote.
Right.
But then it passed, it was built, and they took that money and put it into the police instead of into mental health.
Yeah, well, it's another reason why I'm here, why my wife and I are doing this is now we can raise awareness to where we need to be taught some training on how to react to getting pulled over, talking to the police, because we all get nervous. I mean, you always check your seatbelt, make sure, you know, when you see a cop, because who's going to pull them over? There's no boss for them to get, you know. I seen a cop the other day. I'm driving to work in White City, and he's going every turn with me. But he ain't used his blinker once.
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
well, he's behind me, and I'm watching him. You know, I'm thinking if I was a cop, I'd pull him over.
Yeah.
But he turned all 3 turns with me, no blinker.
You know,
that's what I saw out of it.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that's been lost, I think, in the world is like, you know, the police have got this persona anymore that's like pit bulls, you know, and instead of being like a golden retriever. Right? The dog can still be very vicious, but its nature is not.
Right.
Right? Its nature is compassion and understanding and love and loyalty.
Correct.
Like, those are the things that I would think of. And I mean, what do I know? I'm a recovering drug addict. Like, really, what do I know? These are just my opinions. And again, I do want to say there are lots of wonderful police out there. Some of them have saved my life. Being arrested a few times has saved my life.
Hurt my wrist, but saved my life.
That's right. And so I don't say this necessarily to them. It's more of a broad statement is citizens have the right to police the police.
Yeah.
We have that right. And so if like your situation, you're being followed and they're not using their blinker, like, we're within our rights to pull over and wave at the officer and ask him, like, hey, if I didn't use my blinker, would you have pulled me over? Because what's good for the goose, right?
Yep.
I mean, and that behavior, you know, there's a lot to do and say when it comes to the police. I think it definitely needs some revision with some of the training, perhaps, or how to de-escalate better. Because even though there are the potentials for traffic stops to go fatal, that is a very small number.
True story.
Right? It is a very small number. Granted, nobody wants to lose their life, especially not in the line of duty. Correct. And my hat is off to all the families of fallen officers and their children. I appreciate the police for what they do, but in the same time, you know, I would think just the same way we police ourselves, I would hope that the police force would want that, you know, taking care of, I mean, you think about MPD, man, they got their hands full. This place is a mess.
It just keeps getting messier.
And it keeps getting messier, and that's why, like, seeing it's coming election time, and here we are again with all these career politicians that are making these promises that, I mean, I'm not a real political guy. When Trump was elected, I started getting interested in politics. I thought, you know what, this guy's making a lot of claims, and I want to see what happens. And the little that I know, what I've saw is a lot of these, like, no term limits in Congress. Like, how is that right? You know,
we could happily say goodbye to Kate Brown this year.
Well, that will definitely. Yep, she does not represent our Southern Oregon values.
Maybe Portland, but
yeah, which is fine. I mean, no judgment. But I've always felt like there should be, from Salem or Eugene down, almost a governor for us down here.
Yeah.
You know, because the further north you get, cultures and lifestyles start to change. And, you know, maybe what's important up there with all the electric cars and, you know, the earth and pollution and all that, it doesn't have to be important to everyone. And as a small business owner, I got to tell you, like, the government tells me what I owe them, right? What I owe them, which it just sits wrong with me, and where best that money should be spent. When I think that when I spend the money in my community, that's the best place I can spend it.
Yeah.
Right? And so, sure, I need to pay some taxes for the roadways and the police and health care and all that stuff.
And into the welfare system.
Right. And unfortunately, that percentage starts to near 30% when it's all said and done. And it's frustrating because there's a lot of work that goes into this. And at the end, sometimes it's like all I hear is change falling into my account instead of dollars, or, and I have to start looking at like, well, what am I doing?
Then you raise your prices just a little bit to get a little bit more profit off it, and people go, that's a little too much.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I can do it. I can do it cheaper. Okay,
yep.
You do it cheaper.
Yep. But if you call me to fix your cheaper, I'm going to charge you double. Unfortunately, there's a lot of that as well. Yeah, I did recently raise my prices to try to keep up with inflation, and I don't like to do that. It bugs me when a customer looks at an estimate and sort of cringes. But the business person in me says, we provide a quality professional service, and we do a good job. We give warranties like no other business, and so what's the value of that?
Right.
How can a person say what another person's life is worth?
Yeah. We recently raised our prices on the DJ services. I mean, I thought $75 an hour was a good way to start out and build clientele, but it really doesn't take over because we have to request time off from work, both of us, to go do an event. So there's that. 16 hours of pay we're losing.
Right.
Yeah, it's way
worse.
Plus
fuel,
yeah.
All the costs that it costs just to get your equipment there.
But we still will be the most affordable you can find, and we still work deals. We still all kinds of stuff, but just because we know you doesn't mean it's going to be cheap. Cheap.
Right. No, I run into that a lot with my business.
You build me a deck for $10?
Oh, you bet. I'll supply all the materials.
Nails.
But that does happen a lot. Is I'll meet a customer and I just start vibing with them, and then when I'm putting the estimate together, I'm like, I'm sitting there in the price box and I'm I have to put it down, and then I put it back up, and then I put it down again, and sometimes I forget, this is a business. You gotta put the numbers in there so you can be successful.
Yep.
It isn't about whether I like the person or not, or if I can give them a deal or not. It's when I started this business, I told myself I want to build financial security for my family.
Yep.
And liking people and giving them discounts all the time doesn't coincide very well.
Top ramen is cheap, but not always the best.
Well, that's one of the toughest things. I'll tell you, when I first started the business, was like, okay, now we're starting to make a little bit of money or whatever, and so let's say goodbye to food stamps, right? I mean, we're a big family. We're getting however many dollars a month in food stamps, and I remember when I said that to my wife to be, she had actually asked me, let's fill out this recertification, and I said, I think it's time that we don't. Right? The goal has always been not to be state dependent. That should be, I feel like that should be everyone's goal. Unfortunately, we've developed a society where, and this is the sad truth, I could close my business down, be unemployed, my wife could be unemployed, and we could live with insurance, food, housing, all of this, not necessarily free because taxpayers are paying for it.
Correct.
But where's the incentive to want more from life when, a lot of people, I feel like, are just content there.
Exactly. That's another reason why we started our business. We want to be our own boss.
Right.
I mean, that's the American dream. Entrepreneurship, starting something that you love to do, where you can spend more time with your family. Right now, on the weekends we work, our kids are with other people. We are busting our butt every day just to try to make ends meet, to figure it all out.
Right.
And to be state dependent or whatever anybody's going through, it should be a goal to get away from it.
It definitely should be.
It's helpful. It is. I bet.
And it hurt at first. Yeah. It hurt because all of a sudden, you know, we had become accustomed to, because coming into recovery, you know, life is a mess, and you need help where you need help, and I remember the first time I handed her cash and was like, "This is for groceries," you know, like, oh boy,
$200 in cash. It's scary giving that for groceries.
Yeah, especially when that's barely going to work for the week.
Correct, right.
So
I've been there. I'd be like, no, baby, I don't think we should buy that. I know you want that, but we're paying cash today.
Yeah.
But when we had the food stamps, I'm like, throw those T-bones.
Oh, yeah. The filet mignon, bacon to wrap it with, you know, all that stuff. And so that, you know, it's confusing because it's like, man, I grew up on food stamps, you know, back when they were little checkbooks and you got the 1s and 2s and 5s, and so really it was a while into life. Like, I grew up smoking pot. I didn't know people didn't smoke pot until I got in trouble at school at a young age, and
kindergarten, huh?
Yeah, it was right. I was in first grade maybe, but I remember, I vividly remember this as, you know, one of my few memories when I was a kid. And I was sitting in the principal's office, and my mom walks in, and I could tell she's angry, you know, for one, that she's at the school dealing with her kid. And then she says right in front of him, she says, "You mean to tell me you had pot and you weren't sharing?" And I just went ghost white, looked at the principal, who was Mr. Cardiff, and he looked at me, and I just walked out with her. We ended up actually going to what was that famous Mexican restaurant? I don't think it's in business anymore.
Azteca?
No, it used to be downtown. It was like La something. Yeah, but anyway, she's
down there by the mall, by Credit Chainsaw.
Yeah, down further, a little bit further. But she would always, you know, come pick us up from school. And all through our school careers, she'd come pick one of us kids up, and we, you know, go smoke some new killer bud that she got and take us out to lunch and then drop us back off at school. And I remember being a kid thinking, man, my mom's the coolest. You know, like, how cool is this? And looking back, like, I can't imagine using drugs.
Your mom lets you smoke pot? I'm going over to
Shawn's house. And that's yep, that's exactly what happened.
I have so many friends.
Yeah, well.
And look where we are today. It's just like
crazy.
I mean, not bringing my mom into this, but I will. But hey, there's a lot of things that you let me do. It kind of morphed its way into, okay, I can do this on my own. And look at all the havoc I caused. Drugs, crime, addiction. It's just,
you know, and it starts with those little things. Like erosion is really what I start to see when I look at how decisions were made. And even now, like my 6-year-old Ariana, she has a TV in her room, she has a tablet, she has I call it a toy phone because it's not active, but it can log online. And she is constantly needing to be entertained with electronics. And so what we've recently talked about, and my 2-year-old the same, right? She plays a little more, but so I said, okay, you know, in the dad's group I'm on Facebook, and I posted a thing about, like, what's proper? How do you decide how much time is okay for a tablet? You know, and the general consensus was like an hour a day, and then allow them an opportunity to earn up to 30, 40 extra minutes, you know, through good behavior or whatever. And so I shared that with my wife-to-be, and we were like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Well, I mean, it went over like giving a cat a bath.
Yeah.
The kids are already so used to being able to have, you know, whatever they want. Because I remember thinking when I got clean, like, I'm going to spoil my kids. I'm going to spoil my wife. I'm going to give them the life that we've never had. Well, careful, because you'll give them a life that you don't want.
I'm hard. I'm a very hard. It's hard for me to be an authoritative parent. My wife helps me build that.
Yeah, and it's and we're, you know, like I said, we used to get loaded together. We have similar backgrounds. You know, I'll speak on my story where, you know, when we met, I already had 5 kids with 5 different women. And so, you know, I say that, I used to say it with pride, like a complete idiot. I'm definitely proud of my children, you know, but I had said it like I had done something, you know. Well, yes, what I had done was I had created 5 fatherless homes, right? I had given 5 children the ability to grow up and hate their dad or resent men in general, or, you know, all these things that don't really open up until you get clean.
Right.
And man, it's unfortunate because a lot of it I still, you know, suffer with today. You know, I got a son that's at McLaughlin, and he is going through all of his own interpersonal things, and in the meantime, trying to parent him. You know, I'll be honest, I've had to step back.
Yeah.
I had to step back. We haven't talked in a week. Because I have these boundaries that this is just going to have to be what it is, you know. If every time you call me, and this is for any of my kids, if every time you call me it's because you want money, then I'm going to start not answering, right? Because I have more to offer than money, right? I am a good man. I'm a hard worker. I practice rigorous honesty in all my affairs. You know, I'm loving, kind, compassionate. And so, and actually, I'll give a shout out to my wife because she's the one that told me that.
That's good.
She said, because I was just handing the money over, man. I was thinking like, oh, well, this is just what parents do, right? Not my parents, but this is what we do. And so I'm handing this money out. And she told me one day, she was like, why do you only give them money? And I said, well, what else do they want? She said, well, I don't know, but you have way more to offer. It was the best thing she ever said to me.
That's
like
awesome.
anytime we're in a darker spot as a relationship or whatever, I just remember back to that. And I remember the things that she does that truly, you know, get to my soul to show a person that their love language, right?
Right.
And
that's so cool. That's so deep.
man, it really is. And this is all part of, like, there was a lot of times where we didn't know if we were going to make it, or we didn't even know if we wanted to make it.
Correct.
You know, we were both just beaten down. We had both made horrible choices in our past, and
here's your chance to redeem yourself.
Right. And so, you know, that's why I was saying earlier, now there's a little more meaning to, right? So Gage, who is her oldest boy, like I said, he's lived with us for the last 2 years. And so there came a point in his life where he was like, I would rather be with my mom, you know. And I got to tell you, it had been a while since I seen my wife smile like that. When she was on the phone and she was, you know, trying to be all serious, and I'm in the background being super annoying, you know, like, what's he saying? Oh, what did he say? And she's just trying to listen, you know. That's what I do. Yeah, totally. And, you know, I remember to this day she hung up the phone and she was like, he's coming to live with us. And we hugged, and I was just so glad for her. You know, she's a wonderful woman.
And recovering made that possible.
Recovery made that possible. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It wouldn't have happened if you were still out running and gunning and doing the dumb.
Nope, it definitely would not have.
That's crazy stuff. That's some good stuff right here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely blessed, man, and this is what I like about your podcast is we can come on here and be real, right? I honestly, and I don't mean this any offensive way, but I don't care if anyone likes or doesn't like what I have to say.
Right, that's
what I live with me, right?
There'll be somebody out there that likes it.
And
if it's not for you, share it for somebody else.
Yeah, there will definitely be people who, and I say that because there's this is only a couple weeks old. There's this time when, like, this guy, and I thought I didn't like him. I didn't know why I didn't like him, but I thought I didn't like him. And he comes by and I was like, oh, you think you're so freaking cool. And I was like, God. So I engaged through God. I was like, why do I even feel the need to give that energy?
Yep. I
have
to learn that too.
And simply what he said is, because you think you're cool too.
Yeah. Okay.
He says, and that guy's coolness threatened your coolness.
True story.
And I was like, wait a minute. No. Like, I'm thinking this, processing it in my mind, feeling like I'm a little crazy, that I'm having the conversation with myself. But then in the end, it was like, it has nothing to do with coolness. It has everything to do with that guy is reflecting something back at you that you're not happy with. And, you know, I was able to take a look at, like, what am I not happy with about myself? You know, like I definitely have put on some weight. I'm not happy with that. I'm getting older. I'm not happy with that.
I thought getting older would take longer.
Yeah, but it came real quick.
I mean, I feel real young now that I'm with you because I'll be 40 next week.
Yeah. I'll be 46 in June.
You're halfway to 50.
Oh, but speaking of one of the blessings of recovery, and they say I'm definitely halfway to 50, and this is the saddest of mortality. Is like, if let's pretend I'm going to live till 90. We both know that's not going to happen. But then I would technically be halfway done with my life.
Yeah.
And when I look
back,
back, I've only started to live.
And you just started becoming more wiser.
Right.
At all.
Yeah.
Why do we learn how to really do things the right way when it's almost over? It's like you retire at 65 and die at 70.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing that really drives me crazy with the whole, is like, okay, so you work so first of all, you go to school for 12 years. And you're indoctrinated with whatever our government thinks you need to learn, right? Which I'm a believer in. This whole school system needs to be taken.
Bring back the Pledge of Allegiance.
Bring back the Pledge of Allegiance.
Every morning.
Because this is, like, and I'm not like a racist or a bigot, but this is how America was founded. And while America can involve part of its roots, like when I stood up and put my hand over my heart and I said the Pledge of Allegiance, I felt patriotic. I felt like I belonged.
I knew every word. I felt proud.
Yeah. And then I remember hearing like, oh, well, you know, they're not going to do that anymore because it has the word God in it. And I thought, who would object to the word God? And really, it's not for me to say who would object.
I object to the not word of God.
That was kind of my thought. Was like, man,
Can't please everybody. It's crazy how it works.
It is. It's just one more. Like, I remember, you know, I was born in '76. I really started growing up in the '80s, and I remember like this life, or what I remember life was like in the '80s before addiction. You know, just like everything was awesome. People were cool, hanging out at the green box in the town, you know, and just loving life. And anymore, it's like my daughter asked, can she go outside? And I'm like, not without an adult.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry, honey. And then, of course, I'm selfish. So immediately I'm thinking like, but don't ask me to go.
I mean, there's always been weirdos. There's always been weirdos.
Always, yeah.
But it seems more prevalent now that, like, dude, you can't trust a phone call.
No, you can't.
Someone's always trying to get at you. It's weird. Getting text messages for porn sites, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, there's weirdos everywhere, and they do it for money. They do it for business. They make money off it, and your kids can't just go anywhere. You cannot.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of safe spaces, you know, for like we have her in t-ball and karate and gymnastics and you know, mom's there with her all when I'm not there, and they do stuff. She has crafts, and you know, those girls are lucky. They're lucky because they have a mom that has lived the life that she has lived and is now, you know, really dialed in with keeping these kids safe, keeping these kids in the love, and showing them, you know, which it's got to be so tough for her because I can hear it in her voice when I get home after a long day. And, you know, again, I'm selfish, I guess, by nature. So when I come home, I'm thinking I got to get my shoes off, get to my computer, type my estimates up, and then I'm going to hopefully eat my dinner that she's prepared and take a shower and then relax with my family some. And versus when I walk in the door, it's more like I clocked in and she clocks out. And that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, rightfully so, because I can hear in her voice some days she'll have an extra kid or whatever, and I know that she does not mean to be like that. You know, it's that she's had to be all day, no opportunity. Like when her car got stolen, man, she was stuck in the house, couldn't leave and go to the park or, you know, do stuff, and she powered through it. God bless her. Again, like my hat's off to her. I have a wonderful woman. I love her to death, and she puts up with me the same as I put up with her. We both have character defects, but you know.
That's why I love my wife, Christina. She's got it all.
Yeah,
she figures it out. I mean, slaps me around and eat it.
Yeah, I mean that's.
I mean, not literally.
Well, it's just nice to. You know, I'm definitely in our relationship. I am more the emotional one.
Right.
right? She is, she's, she has a story to tell. It's not for me to get into it, but there's definitely some issues there where there's walls up, and brick by brick. I've been over the last 10 years. I feel like maybe I've got a layer or two down. There's more to go.
Yeah.
And I've told her, like, I'm going to be here until they're all gone, and long after that. Like
Good stuff.
but they do have to come down. And that's going to require work on the other person's part. Is it's like telling her, oh, that's all you do. I remember telling her once, I was like, get outside your comfort zone, and she did not like that. She was like, I don't want you telling me what to do. Like, and in my brain, I'm like, wait, do you love me? Okay, you do. Do you trust me? Okay, yes, you do. So someone you love and trust is telling you what they see, what they think can fix it. Why wouldn't you
want to try to evaluate it?
Right. Because it'd be the same as if we close this all down. You're like, look, Shawn, when we do the next one, don't talk about police, right? I'm gonna say, okay, right. I wonder why he wants.
We talk about it all.
We talk about it all. But I would first of all, I would
we keep
question,
the cussing out because Spotify don't like that. But
yeah,
that's how that works.
It's amazing because we both cuss a lot. And
yeah,
I haven't heard one cuss word.
I haven't heard one cuss word either. Thank God.
Yeah, I got close a minute ago.
Hey, I want to go back to what you said. Like when you come in the house and you ready to sit down at the computer and start doing your estimates, and you clock in and she clocks out. Yeah, it's probably the sense of like she has the support's home.
Right, absolutely.
I can chill. I can take my eyes off the kids for 20 minutes right now. I can use the bathroom without the kids climbing on me. Oh, it's all that kind of stuff. If she feels that support with you, it's like my wife is the same way. When I'm home, I'll say, you go do what you got to do just to mentally undrain yourself.
Right.
And
your
support system is here.
Her favorite thing, and thank you for sharing that, because that is not at all how I engage, right? I'm still selfish, man.
Yeah,
I still am like, well, what about my stuff?
Yeah.
Like, I'm back to like, I'm the man. I'm paying all the bills. This business has got to come first, right? But really, it does, but it doesn't, right? I mean, you don't know what you don't know. Period. Like, and so what?
The love of life.
FaceTime video. It's probably like, you better shut your mouth, boy. No. So when I come in the door, the kids always love to see Daddy. She's usually sitting there smiling. There's usually some dinner cooking, some laundry or something. And so typically I come in, I greet everyone. I go put my stuff away, my sweater, my phone on the charger, hang my hat up. And then from there, I'm still on Shawn time, right? I still, when I come home, and I will change this starting tonight, once I come home, I will actively engage in like, hey, how was your, not just how was your day, but actually hear how her day was. And then go from there, like, okay, I can put this estimate off for a little while. How about if you go run yourself a bath? Or if I go run a bath for her, she loves baths.
You gotta be in the bath. You gotta be in the bath before she gets home.
That would be cool. I would love that. We all know
and it's things like this where we can just talk about it, and we're both finding like new ideas to take home to our wives,
right?
New ideas to take home to our families, and this is exactly what we're trying to do.
How to be better men.
Be better men. And we're going to grow with it. This podcast is going to grow somewhere. We're going to start some men's groups and some women's groups. My wife is itching to do that. We're going to get together with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we're going to grow it.
I could definitely see that in the future. Like, say, like Habitat for Humanity. At one point it was a couple guys sitting there talking about, I got an idea. Okay, what is it? And then from there, they brought in some more people, probably formed a group, and then they started helping more and formed a business. And I can see Let's Get Real or JCTV Productions or any of those being able to be a force in the community that's like, help with anything from a light bill to a leaky faucet or, counseling referrals or...
Call me for your audio needs. Call him for your construction needs.
Yep.
Or you'll be calling him again.
That does happen more than it should, for
You
sure.
pay twice for a mess up, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy stuff. Woo!
Yeah.
It's been good.
Yeah, so it's been.
Let's talk real quick. What do you think about the war in Ukraine?
I think there is so much undercurrent to all of this politics stuff that it would take a week's worth of episodes to.
Go ahead.
What?